Hi everyone, my name is Lydia and this is what I wish they taught me about econometrics and introduction. In this video, we're going to see how to defend the exclusion restriction, because as we said in the previous video, you can't prove it, you must defend it. And what we are defending is that we have come up with a valid instrument Z that affects Y only through X. And this will immediately raise difficult questions. How do we know that's true? The short answer is that we usually don't, and that's one of the most important things to understand about IV. In a just identified model, we are going to see one instrument for one endogenous variable. The exclusion restriction in this case is not directly testable. Untestable just means the data can't tell us directly. It says nothing about whether the restriction holds. That's why argument matters so much. And this is what Angerst and Pischke mean when they say that the exclusion restriction must be believed. It's not a weakness of the IV. It's an honest acknowledgement that causal claims always rest on the assumption that sometimes go beyond the data. Why can't we test it? The data tells us whether the overall IV strategy produces sensible results. It cannot tell us whether the exclusion restriction itself is valid. In a just identified model, we use all the variation from Z to estimate the beta one. There is no variation left over to test whether the Z also affects the Y directly, okay? So this is quite important. No variation left over to test whether Z affects Y directly. We're using 100% of the instrument's information to identify the effect, and nothing remains to check the assumption. This changes when you have more instruments than endogenous variables, in which case you have over-identification, because in that case you have leftover variation that can be used to at least partially test for the exclusion restriction. But that's in the next video. So instead of proving exclusion, economists build a credibility argument. And the question is not, is the exclusion restriction mathematically proven? The question is the restriction believable, and have we done everything we can to defend it? Which shifts the burden from statistics to reasoning, and that's why the best IV papers read more like detective stories in a sense rather than econometrics textbooks. There are 4 common defenses and that you can use as your arguments, and keep in mind you can use that either when you write your own dissertations and you're using IV, but also when you write your answers in a question, in an exam question. So defense number 1 would be using institutional knowledge. And in institutional knowledge, we understand exactly how the institution operates. For instance, compulsory schooling laws. The law sets a minimum schooling leaving age, which affects obviously education. Why would a schooling law directly affect wages beyond its effect on education? The argument seems implausible, and basically that's the whole point. So the stronger your institutional knowledge, the more convincingly you can rule out direct channels. The defense number 2 is timing. The instrument is determined before the outcome and often before the endogenous variable too. The timing argument is used quite a lot in cases where you relate income and beauty. So keep that in mind. For timing also, the example of birth quarter that we mentioned in the previous video. Your birth quarter is fixed at birth, long before your education, career, or earnings are determined, which makes it hard to argue basically that birth quarter affects earnings through anything other than education. But again, keep in mind, timing doesn't guarantee exclusion because a variable determined early can still have direct effects later. Okay, but it does help rule out reverse causality between Z and Y. A third type of argument could be to use natural experiments. So some events generate variation that is plausibly as good as random. So draft lotteries, any lecture slides or videos out there on YouTube that talk about the IV, they always have the paper of the Vietnam lottery in order to show how IV works. So draft lotteries. Policy discontinuities. Or even geographic boundaries. So draft lotteries, random assignment of military service, for instance, as I said, policy discontinuities, sharp cutoffs that affect some people but not others, or geographic boundaries, just people on the other side of the border. And when the instrument is genuinely random or quasi-random, the argument for exclusion basically becomes even more compelling. That's why natural experiments are so prized in modern econometrics, because the closer the instrument is to true randomization, the more credible the exclusion restriction is. And the last one, which while the first three, you might use them quite a lot when you write your dissertations, defense number 4, which is placebo tests, is quite often also tested in exams. So keep that in mind. In placebo tests, you're testing whether the instrument predicts outcomes it logically should not affect. Okay? Example, if distance to university is your instrument, does it predict earnings for people who would never attend university regardless? And if the answer to that is yes, that's a warning sign. Distance is capturing something else. So a placebo test, keep in mind, it doesn't prove exclusion. However, a failed placebo test actually is strong evidence against it. Okay. Let's move to a more particular example. I have here the abstract from the paper from Angst. Does compulsory school attendance affect schooling and earnings? So Angst and Kruger, in this particular one, they are using exactly this logic. And by the way, this is one of the most famous IV papers. They are using quarter of birth as the instrumental variable. We've got years of education and earnings. And if you very quickly scan through the first couple of sentences in here, this is basically the relevance argument, because what they are saying is that quarter of birth affects education through compulsory schooling laws. Children both born early in the year can legally leave school having completed less education than children born in later year. Okay, so this bit right here, it's literally your Z affecting X channel, and the instrument moves the endogenous variable. If you then look at this other part right here, what you are looking at is actually the exclusion restriction. So they, and notice very clearly what they're doing here, because they're using the quarter of birth as an instrument, which only makes sense only like if you believe that birth quarter affects earnings only through education, but they don't spell out this is like the exclusion argument explicitly here. It's implicit in the choice of the instrument that they have used. The argument is there is no plausible biological or social reason why being born in January versus October should directly affect your wages. And the only channel is through schooling. So that's the exclusion restriction argued, not proven. And notice very quickly also the results that they found. This is actually a very important finding because we are seeing that the IV estimate and the OLS estimates are very similar, which suggests that OLS wasn't badly biased in this particular case. Education may not be as endogenous as they had feared. We'll come back to exactly this kind of comparison, OLS versus IV, in a dedicated video later. But for now, just notice that IV doesn't always overturn OLS. Sometimes it confirms it, and that is also very valuable information. So if you're doing a dissertation and you're noticing the same kind of result, keep that in mind because that's quite important. Now, what makes a bad defense? If you say, I can't think of another channel, that is not a defense, okay? So that is at most absence of imagination, not evidence of exclusion. So a credible defense requires that you're explaining the theory, you're using institutional details, and you're using empirical placebo tests. So no, not convenience, not silence, okay? So even if you can't come up with something that is extraordinary in an exam, you still have to write something, okay? The most important thing is that you have to think as a referee. When you read a paper or you write one yourself, ask yourself, can I construct a plausible story where Z affects the Y directly? And if yes, the exclusion restriction is questionable. If you genuinely cannot, the instrument is more credible. The best IV researchers anticipate this question and address it head-on in their papers, so the weakest papers just assume it and hope no one asks. In a dissertation context, your examiner will definitely ask that question. So have an answer ready and ideally a placebo test to back it up. But if you don't have a placebo, remember you've got 3 other ways you can defend it. The strongest papers have strong theory about why Z affects the X, institutional knowledge, and the historical and contextual evidence supporting the validity, okay? So the econometrics part of this is easy. The hard part is the economics bit. In the next video, we'll see what changes when we have more instruments than endogenous variables. Surprisingly, that gives us a way to partially test the exclusion restriction, something we just said was impossible in the just identified case. So stay tuned and I'll see you in the next video.